Welcome back to the Prosperous Life Podcast, everyone. Thank you so much for showing up. I am Braiden Belnap, and it is my goal, as well as my guest's goal, to drive it home that you are one choice away from a completely different life. You are also not alone in your journey to creating the life of who you want to be and what you want to do. Have you ever felt like a victim? Or have you ever felt like life was against you, or people that you wanted to love or were loved by were hurting you? My guest today grew up in a very abusive household, to where he was beaten for as simple as saying something wrong or doing something not quick enough. He grew up and transitioned into a life of crime, to where he committed robberies, he stole, he did as many drugs as me and you probably can think of that were around back in the day. He's here to talk to you about accountability, to show you that you can make a different choice and that you can transform your life no matter where you're at. That in mind, welcome to the show, Eric Wicklund. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me on here, brother.
Of course. This has been, it's some time coming, but I've been so excited that I can't stop talking about it.
What I've been hearing, I told him I was going to do it, and he says, no, you're not. Justin McBride. I got to give a shout out to him he was basically the one that started this scenario.
Absolutely. 100%.
He's been talking about, every time I talk to him, you're talking about this. We got to get this done. And he can't believe how excited everybody's getting about this. And I'm going, well, if we're going to get excited, then let's roll.
Amen to that.
You know, and like I was telling you before, I don't write my talks out. I think it comes off as scripted.
Sure.
You know, and one of the messages he sent me was just come authentic. That's the best way I can do it. I have no idea what's going to happen today. Don't care. We're going to have a conversation.
A magical one.
And things are going to happen.
Absolutely.
That's why we're doing this.
Most definitely.
You know, those are word to get out.
We're here to make an impact on one person, and if it impacts millions, then great. But we're at least shooting.
Yeah, my goal is always, whenever I do a talk, is whether it be 10 people or 500, if I can touch one, then I've done something. More than that, hey, that's gravy. But I shoot for one.
Absolutely.
Don't go in there thinking, you know, anybody that thinks they can go in there and just take over the entire crowd and get everybody, you're fooling yourself. You know, I might get half the crowd. Great. I want that one. If I can change that one person's life, then we've done something.
Absolutely. So to get into this, you've completely transformed your life. But I want to start from the beginning. What was your childhood like that you feel has, I don't want to say set you up for this. In a way it did. It's a really
in a way it did. I grew up in a highly abusive household. Use your imagination of anything in your house you could use as a weapon, whether it be a wooden spoon, a metal spoon, pots and pans, power cords. I'm going to age myself, a phone cord. I've been beat with it. My mother was highly abusive. Doesn't matter what I did, I got the brunt. I've been beat, like I said, belts, you name it. I've been beat with it. That's just how I went through my childhood. I don't know if I looked at her wrong, if I said something wrong, or I didn't do it quick enough for her. My father kept a blind eye. It's in the old tradition that, you know, families stay together and you just, you know, don't rock the boat. I lived with this. After a while, I learned how to make the pain go away, shall we say, how to mask it.
Sure.
Everybody has their first idea of what the first drug of choice was. Oh, it's got to be this or it's got to be that. How about kerosene?
Yeah, you went. You just went for it.
You take a sandwich bag and you put a little kerosene in there and you inhale it. I guess what they call it now is huffing. But you can go on some great trips. Don't do it. I've done all these drugs. You don't have to. Okay? You've done enough for all of us. So don't even think about doing it. But that's where I started. And then from there, yeah, we got into the marijuana, and I mean, it started to grow, and then over years, I was into the meth, the coke, the heroin. It's easier for me to tell you the drugs I haven't used. Ecstasy, things like this. They weren't out when I was doing drugs.
Sure.
I quit in 1985, June 10th, approximately 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, in a state prison. But yeah, I remember that specifically because I want to remember that shot. It was a shot of heroin that buckled my knees. I want to remember that shot where I was. I don't ever want to be here again.
Did you, when you were in that moment, that last shot, the moment you took it, were you like, I'm never doing this again?
Oh, no.
Or when was that moment?
The actual moment was when you finally start getting your senses again. Walked out of my cell, and I went out onto the compound, and I'm looking. There's between 18-year-olds and 70-year-old dope fiends. And I'm thinking, this is where I'm going to die. This is what I've got to look forward to. And I went, nope, something's got to change. I'm not going to make the age of 25 if I don't quit now. That was like in, June. My birthday's in October. We're looking just a few months until I turn 25. I knew I wasn't going to make it. The amount of drugs I was doing, you got to quit. You got to. Some people, you got to hit that point. I hit the wall on that. I mean, it'd have been great if I could say, when I hit that wall, I quit everything. At least I'm not doing drugs anymore.
Absolutely. That's a huge one.
37 years, 38 years clean.
You feel better than ever?
No, because it's not something you hear about. These guys that's got like 6 weeks or 6 months. And I tell them, I says, I don't care how long you've got. I deal with this now. The movie Scarface, where he's got that pile, 2 kilos of coke. When he drops his face into it, watching it on TV, my heart rate shoots to above 120. I start shaking, sweating. I'm reliving it. 30 plus years later, just watching it on TV.
Is that because you crave the drug still?
You always crave it.
Okay.
You just got to have the willpower. And that's your big thing there. You got to want to quit. I mean, I can talk to people. I've talked to people for months and weeks at a time. You need to quit. You need to do. I can talk to them until I'm blue in the face. They have to want to quit.
Absolutely.
If they're not ready yet, I can say everything. I've got people I'm dealing with now that they're coming close. But it's just, you can't just back up and go, well, when you're ready, come talk to me. I'm not going to do that.
You won't give up on them.
Because you can't.
Yeah. This really brings me back to a story that I heard. Do you know who Ed Milet is?
Offhand, no, but go for it.
Okay. He's an amazing person, but growing up, his dad was an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. Brings the story back of what he was talking, and he asked his dad when he was young, Dad, are you going to quit this time? Because his dad went to a sober home, tried to get sober. And so he asked, and he said, you know what, Ed, I'm going to take it a day at a time. One day at a time.
That's what I do now. My medical record says I'm allergic to Benadryl, penicillin, and any known narcotic. So if it's non-narcotic, you can give me pain medication. Now, I have had morphine because I've had open heart surgery, and I was dealing with pleurisy. They gave me a shot of Toradol. They gave me a shot of morphine. That didn't take it away. Gave me another shot of morphine. Then they gave me what's called Dilaudid. And I went, time out. We're done. Because I started going places that I didn't want to go. But
sure,
that's why I tell them I don't want any. Because it only takes that one shot. What's the alcohol, the AA thing? One's too many. I've got too much to lose.
Absolutely. So I want to bring it back to childhood just for a moment, because I'm a firm believer in a father figure.
Mm-hmm.
We need a father figure. And in your book, which, by the way, everybody, if you want to hear a story, because I wish we could get through it all today, go grab his book. It's so amazing. You grew up respecting your father and you lost respect for him as time went on. I would love for you to tell a little bit about that story, and as far as your father figure.
I grew up in a military family. My dad was a Navy veteran, went to Vietnam, all this thing. We kind of feared him. Why didn't we go after him? Two things stopped us: fear and common sense. He was a Navy SEAL. He'd forgotten more ways to take somebody out than he could explain. So but he was always there. Well, when it got to the point where my mom was continually in abuse and he would put a blind eye on it, then I started looking for something else. If you're not going to have my back like you're supposed to, I'm going to find somebody else. Well, that somebody wasn't actually a person. It was different drugs. I'll get my outlet from somewhere else. So I have to do it this way. But actually, parent figure. Everybody always leans towards, well, you got to have a father figure. Yeah, father figures are great. Wouldn't a mother also be? How many mothers are out there playing both roles? And okay, let's flip that around. How many fathers are doing both roles? You need both of them.
You really do.
Hats off to all of them that are actually doing it. Because we don't know the circumstance. We don't know the scenarios. But if they're pulling it off, great. I've got a daughter that's doing this. Her significant others aren't in the picture. And she's raised two of our grandkids just awesome. It can be done. But again, it's the support structure.
Most definitely.
And if you don't have that, I keep reading and watching all these different, YouTube videos and things like this on why the crime rate is so high in certain areas. Well, yeah, a big part of it is there's not a two-parent family. But then again, okay, you get a two-parent family and it's an abusive. Are you really doing something positive here? Because you're staying together, but you're abusing your kids. Nowadays, we have the opportunity to get some kind of assistance. When I was growing up, you just didn't say anything. I knew if I said something to somebody, I was going to get it worse than what I was getting now, if that's possible. So we just kept quiet.
So did that ever cross your mind? Like, who can I talk to about everything that's going on?
Never, because I knew the repercussion. That's just, I grew up in the 70s and the 80s. I was a kid in the late 60s and early mid-70s. That was just unheard of. You got a problem at home, you deal with it at home, or you just shut up.
So did you look at your friends' families and be like, I wish I had that mom, or I wish I had that dad?
No, because I hung out with people kind of like me.
Okay.
We were all in dysfunctional families. I don't know if it was a magnet thing, and I know how to deal with you, but these nice people over here, I'm not sure I want to deal with these people because they're kind of weird. At that time, that was my thinking. Now, maybe I should have went that way. Maybe I'd have got pulled out of the family. Is that a bad thing? The amount of abuse that I went through? Is it a bad thing to be pulled out of something like that? New start. No, I got to wait till I'm in my mid-30s to get a new start. All right, better late than never.
Absolutely. And
but
early 30s still very young in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. when I was growing up, 30 was, you're over the hill. Now, coming up on 62, 105 is old. Forget about this 50 or 60. No, I'm there.
Sure. The one thing that came to mind when you were saying all that is you obviously didn't think of who can I tell, who can I go to for support, and you hung out with people that had the same dysfunctional family.
Mm-hmm.
I firmly believe in whatever situation is, I firmly just believe it's important to check on people. I think this is a really good opportunity to shine a light on that. Is your friends could be struggling. it's important to reach out and check on them, see if they're doing okay, whether that's, unfortunately nowadays, suicide or drugs or thinking about going down a different path. That support system is huge. But it's also the stranger or the kid in your neighborhood that you feel is just always frowning or sad.
What is a stranger? Stop and think about it for a minute. What is a stranger? A stranger is a friend you haven't met. You might be that rope. He's falling. You give him the rope. Oh, but it's a stranger. Who cares? You remember where you were at one time? You were falling and nobody handed you a rope. Nobody was there for you. That's why I do what I do. I'm not going to try to blow everything up to where I can save everybody. I can't. But I can try to save the ones I can. And I do. I mean, we go into a restaurant. I automatically start reading the room. Who's doing what? How are they acting? And it's just, I've gone up to people and just start talking to them. Sometimes it's, where are they at? I know where you are physically. Where are you at mentally? Is there something I can do or I can say that's going to make your life just, even right now, make it a little brighter? And that's what we all should be doing. We can all be hateful. Hey, let's make a new trend. Why don't you start caring about people? Don't look for the bad. We've all got bad. I got enough bad for half this town. But why? Does that make you better than me? If I prick your finger and I prick my finger, what color is it going to be?
Red.
We're all going to be the same color. We're no better than everybody.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm trying to get across.
The thing that came to mind as you were telling that story is being a life coach. I look into everything, whether that's drug abuse to suicide, really anybody that goes through. And there's more stories than not where the person going to commit suicide just wishes somebody would reach out. Ask, Hey, how are you doing? I see you. Why are you upset?
More than what people realize. If somebody would have just stepped in, whether you don't have to jump in and manhandle them or anything, step in and say something. That might be what they need. You don't have to have a degree in something to save somebody's life. A small conversation could turn somebody around. Isn't that what we want to do?
Absolutely.
My card says motivational speaker, life coach, author. We're in a sense in the same business here.
We are.
We're trying to help people.
And like you said,
you took it to the next level, and I'm going, awesome. When I got that call, it took me, a couple hours to come down. I mean, you made my day. Justin, I'm bouncing off the walls. Cool. This is great. We're going to Salt Lake. I mean, we live, 700 miles from here. I don't care. We're going.
Yeah.
We got to do this.
And this comes down to, I want to just tell a story, is that everything happens for a reason. Everything. Do you know how I met Justin?
Actually, yes. Something to do with a hat. We asked him about that last night, and he explained that, and I'm going, okay, I can see that happening.
So the background that Justin may or may not know, I forget, is that this sugar shop called Hello Sugar just opened up. It's a mini donut shop, and my wife's, she's a sugar person. She just wants to try all the sugar. She loves it. And she's like, babe, will you please come with me to Hello Sugar? I really want to go. And I'm the type of person that I'll eat sugar on date nights or Saturday or Sunday nights or special occasions, but I try to stay away from it. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to get anything anyways. She's like, no, I really need you to come with me. So she begged me for about an hour until I gave in and was like, okay, let's go. I walk in and Justin's like, lion's not sheep. I love that hat. And as we're walking out, I asked for his information. That's how we got to know each other. And now we're here. Yeah. Everything happens for a reason. And it's willing to say hello. We made a connection off of a hello. Or you can save somebody's life.
One line can change someone's entire
Absolutely.
day, life. Go as long as you want to try to put a time on it. One line can change everything.
And that stranger is now one of my amazing friends.
That's why I said, what is a stranger?
It's your best friend.
You haven't met yet.
Absolutely.
You haven't talked to him. How do you know this is not going to be, I'm going to use different terminology. This is not going to be your road dog. This is the guy you call. I don't care what's happening. World's coming to an end. This is the guy you call. You might have met him a couple of months ago. Didn't know him from Adam. You could have walked by him on the street and never noticed him.
Absolutely.
Now he's your go-to.
100%.
Because of one conversation.
Absolutely.
That's where it starts.
And that can be a friend.
What we have to. That's what we're both trying to put across here.
Yeah.
One conversation can change somebody's life. I'm trying to have as many conversations as I can. We all know where the world's going, pretty much in the toilet, but if we can kind of start to bring it, we can't solve this, okay?
Absolutely.
But we can be a domino. That's my mindset. I know I can't change the criminal justice system, but if I can be a domino to get it to start, then we're at least moving forward. You're doing the same thing on a different area, but you're trying to be that one domino. You can't change everybody. Okay, let's hit this domino. Can we get one? And that's our whole outlook.
Absolutely. But the thing is, we need more people like you and I.
Yeah, and that's where this domino comes in. You hit a domino, and then somebody else comes. You get a phone call, or you hear about somebody, and then you make that connection. All of a sudden, okay, now we're up to 2. Now we're up to 4. It's always going to keep going. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Absolutely.
We have faith in ourselves, but we also have the reality that we can't change somebody's opinion. We can give them our outlook. I'm not going to tell somebody what they have to do because I hated it. You probably dislike it to all get up. No, you got to do it this way. No, here's an idea. Why don't we try? Have you ever thought about doing it this way? I tell people I don't talk to people. I don't talk at people. I'll talk with you all day. Here's an idea. You want to try doing it this way? I've done it this way, and it worked real well for me. Now, I'm not saying this is going to solve your problem, but maybe you can get something from this.
Sure.
As long as you go into it thinking that, you're going to, you've started off down here and you're slowly growing. We're both doing the same.
Absolutely.
We have a meaning. We have a purpose.
We have to start somewhere.
Yes.
And I started learning personal development when I was 16. But whether you're 70 listening to this, 100 or 50 or 30 or 16 for all that matter, or younger, doesn't matter. Just start. Start with yourself. Start saying hello to other people. And sooner or later, naturally, your life, you can be a domino in your own life is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you can.
And at some point, you'll be a domino for somebody else. But your story of changing your own life is going to naturally inspire other people, whether you know it or not. People are watching.
Oh, yeah. And the amount of people that have told me 15 years ago, you weren't the one I knew, or 20 years ago. I don't know who you are now, but it wasn't that guy. I got out of the joint, and the secretary at the AP&P, the federal AP&P, told LeBar, who was my PO, if he ever shows up here, I want at least 2 other probation officers because of my mugshot. Long beard, bald head. You looked into my eyes, there was nothing there. He says, I don't want anything to do with him. And then I show up, I've got these nerd glasses that basically I tell people, you're not getting laid tonight. These goofy ass glasses. I've trimmed my beard and everything. I got hair on my head. And it was like night and day. He says, okay, you're not this guy. Did you read my file? No, you don't want to deal with me. While I was in the joint, they knew, don't come at me. You come at me, I'm not going to hurt you. If I hurt you, you can come back at me. Everybody in that compound knew. I'll take you out. Don't care. Didn't have a care in the world. I was in the ugliest place you could possibly be. What's it worth? And then finally a light bulb went off and went, okay, now let's change things around.
Absolutely. When was the moment that you started getting in trouble? And what was your journey like before you ended up in prison or jail?
The first time I actually got in trouble was 9 years old, third grade. My father had just got back from Nam, so the only job he could get was as a, what I tell people, a sanitation engineer. He was garbage man. Back then it was a good paying job, great job, but people looked down on it. I got tired of being picked on. That's cool. And one day I'd had enough. And imagine I wasn't the smallest kid in school. I took on the playground and I was holding my own pretty well. And then somebody grabbed my left shoulder and went to spin me around. Well, without thinking, I came around and made contact. It was a female teacher. I got expelled from that school, sent to the University of Minnesota Child Psychiatry Unit, fighting. Okay? I'm a brawler. After 6 weeks, they diagnosed me as a pyromaniac. That's a hell of a jump. I beat people up, but yet you're telling me I set people on fire. We've got it figured out that it was just a typical diagnosis. That was their go-to. I stopped even trying to figure it out. Got out of there, and I was kind of brought up by my mind setting was beg, borrow, or steal. If you wanted something, that's how you got it. And I knew I wasn't getting anything from home. As soon as I woke up, I was out the door.
You just try to stay away from
home as much as possible. Hey, stay out of line of fire. I already figured out it didn't take much for her to pull the trigger. And luckily, she actually did chase me out of the house one time with a gun. Knock on wood, she didn't pull the trigger. I've done burglaries. I've done, things like this, shoplifting, just so that I could pay for the drugs that I was using. That's just what I had to do. Now, I've told a lot of people it wasn't that I was doing this because I needed, my reasoning is this was my job. Your job is to do podcasts. My job was to rip you off. So I had money. That was my mindset. I wasn't breaking the laws. I was doing my job. Yeah, I sold drugs, but this was my job. I was really good at it. I didn't think of it as, I was breaking any laws until I got put in jail.
Absolutely. So how did this progress? You obviously grew up in a childhood home that wasn't supportive at all.
Oh, no.
And
nowhere
that's
near.
A very simple way of saying it for all you went through. To starting to stay away from home, to what was it? How did this progress to burglaries?
It really got crazy in 78. Three of us decided we were going to run away. My parents went out for the night, and we all got together and we started driving around trying to figure out what we were going to do. And we decided, well, we're going to need some money, so why don't you go back to my house, because my parents have got firearms. Got one of my dad's guns, and we're driving around, and I'm thinking I'm all that and then some. I'm waving this pistol around, not even thinking that it might be loaded. And I got cocky, and I pointed it down at the floorboard, and I pulled the trigger. And that gun goes off. Well, it gets kind of loud. So I dropped it on the front seat. Decided I didn't want to deal with that anymore. And we're still driving around, couldn't find anything. And then it dawned on us, they know what car we're driving. We're going to need a different car. So about 1 o'clock in the morning, we're about 3 towns over from where we were living. We see in this parking lot, there's one car. Vacant parking lot. Looks like somebody's, leaning across the steering wheel, probably drunk or whatever. So we pulled about 100 yards away. I tell the guy in the back seat, I said, just go over and take him out. My mindset was to take somebody out, go over there, open the door, pull him out, knock his ass out, and drop him. You've been taken out.
Absolutely.
He reached up and grabbed the gun, walks over to the car, opens the door, puts the gun to the back of his head, and pulls the trigger. We heard the shot. Now, as long as it took us to go that 100 yards, he'd already pulled him out of the car and was trying to run him over with his own car. Looking back on it now, that's sick. That's an evil person. I'm not saying I had no part in it. I'm just as guilty. I was there. I was the one that got the gun. I'm not going to try to play this game. Well, I didn't do it. Might as well have. I was one of the effects that made it all happen. I'm not going to try to weasel my way out. but we decided, okay, we're just going to play this off. We're all going to go home, act like nothing happened. That was in January or February. In May, the guy that was driving decided he was going to brag about it to a bunch of high schoolers. Luckily, somebody took him seriously. And I tell all the classes I do, if you hear somebody talking about something like this, whether you believe it or not, go talk to somebody. Because it might actually be for real. You don't know. Well, next thing I know, I'm being called down to the principal's office, I was not, not like I'd never seen it before. We were on first name basis pretty much. Get down there and I get arrested and off we go. That was one ugly part. Here's probably something you didn't expect me to say. I've been mentally abused, physically abused, and I've also been sexually abused as a child. Now, as I wrote in the book, a family member, I'm not going to put a name on it, but I'm just going to say a family member was the one that did the abusing. And then they sent me to a boys' ranch where you're supposed to go there to get help. There's counselors there, right? Sure. They're supposed to be the ones that help you. Well, he helped you all right. I got abused for 6 more weeks with him. Hang on. You're supposed to be here to help me, but you're, is it exasperating? You're making the problem worse.
You're manipulating.
Yeah. And
you're acting as if you want
now that I can see, everything that I've gone through and all the things that I've done, it was a type of grooming. Because he was doing all the right things, saying all the right things. I didn't know it at the time. I thought he was actually trying to help.
Sure.
Well, yeah, he was helping himself. And this was actually buried. I mean, we're talking 11 years old. This came out 5, 6, or 7 years ago. It came out. I had buried it for that many years. Probably close to 50 years or more.
When you say it came out, did it just dawn on you that this happened? Or
I don't know if it was a conversation I was having or maybe I was watching something, but it just, boom, here it is. And if that ain't going to throw you off, I don't know what will.
So when you say that, and honestly, when I read your book, I feel like sometimes I was like, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. And then I would get pissed. And then I went through every emotion possible. Oh, yeah. And when you say that, I'm showing it very well, but I get angry. I get a pit in my stomach. Do you experience the same emotions?
Now I do. But I use that.
Sure.
At first, I was hot. But at the same time, call it ashamed, embarrassed. I mean, there's a long list of different emotions you're going to go through. Yeah, I was pissed, but it's not like I could change it. And I've come so far to that point. Why throw it all away? Yeah, it'd have been nothing to go back and deal with it. Where does that put me? Let's see, I'm under the 3rd strike rule. I get arrested. I don't get a parole date. I come out in a body bag. Is it really worth that? Nah, I got a lot to live for.
Absolutely.
Like we were talking before, God's got a plan. I should have been gone by the age of 25. I flatlined 4 times. Shouldn't be here. Yet God goes, hang on. I got something else for you. About 13 years ago, times are getting kind of rough. You know how everything goes. We finally just threw our hands up in the air and went, you know what, we're going to put it in God's hands. What do you want to do? And that's how we've been since. Okay, it's not going the way we want it to go. Well, it never goes the way we want it to go. We're not making the plan. So back up a little bit. What do you got, God? I still got a roof over my head. I got people that love me. I got food. What more can I ask for? I'm not in prison. I'm not dead. Okay, you've got something for me. Well, write a book. Now I'm co-author of 2 books and wrote my own. I do a lot of speaking. So yeah, I'm supposed to be here.
Absolutely. There's no doubt in that at all. So when did you start to actively have a relationship with God?
13 years ago.
13 years
Well,
ago.
no, actually 10 years ago when we lost Bob, my uncle. It was at that point that, I'd been through all the different religions, and I keep telling everybody, there's only one God. I don't care what you're saying. You can all believe in, your own faith. And if that makes your day go, then great. But it wasn't until I started talking to this Lutheran pastor. Maybe there is something here. So we'll say about 13 years ago.
Do you feel like that helped? Obviously,
immensely.
13 years ago, you have already transformed your life, but do you feel like this helped take the transformation to the next level?
Oh, we've gone a long way since then. Because again, the abuse came out. It was about that point when our first book came out. It's just a lot of things have happened since then that might not have happened before. So every day we wake up, we're grateful.
Absolutely.
There's only one reason why I'm here. Oh no, it's medical and it's science and horse manure. God's the only reason we're here. And he needs to come back. God needs to be a bigger part of this planet. Because everybody's trying to, oh no, you can't have that. Science says, no.
Absolutely. And just to even bring this to the light, I agree with you. God needs to be a bigger part in everybody's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Even for the people that have dedicated their lives to God, we always can get better.
You can always do more.
Absolutely.
Well, I do this for the church and I do that. Okay. So you're saying because of what you're doing now, you don't have to do any more? That's like, okay, you do one podcast, you're done for the year. Okay, how much sense does that make? You can always be doing more.
Absolutely.
Okay. In our household, we are not priests, we're not, anything like that. But we're a piece on the chessboard. Everybody's needed.
Absolutely.
Granted, we're not, and truthfully, neither one of us want to be up in that top spot. Let us be down here where we can do what we can do. Don't try to put us up on a pedestal where you think we're going to do more. We're going to do what we can, and that's exactly what we do.
Most definitely. And I'll say that's one reason that I'm proud to be an American too.
Oh, yeah.
Because they say one nation under God, indivisible. Like our country has a lot of God involved within it. If we take us back to our roots, it's been lost, and we need to bring it back to our roots.
It's not totally lost. I mean, it's
Sure.
getting dim.
Yes, that's the right way to put it.
It's getting dim, but we can. How do I word this so it doesn't get taken the wrong way? We need to start putting a little more power to it.
Absolutely.
Get some more voltage.
We need to speak up.
That light needs to start coming back on. People need to start talking again. Forget about the phone.
Yes.
Here's a weird thing. Put your phone down and actually have a conversation. Figure it's the 1970s. We didn't have phones. We had phones. Have a conversation. Not on a phone. Don't even call them. Talk to them in person.
Absolutely. The only thing that evil needs to succeed is for good people to stay quiet.
Mm-hmm.
there's more good in this world than evil. It's just that evil is so loud. Good people need to speak up. They need to stand up, and they
put themselves on mute. Well, my life's going great, so I don't really need to say anything. You might think your life's going great, but stop and think about it. You're part of the problem. All you got to do is have a conversation.
Absolutely.
We're back to the domino. One conversation goes to another.
To another, to another, to another.
It just keeps going. And
so let's talk about bringing it back to God in your transformation. Let's take it even further back of 13 years to when you started transforming. What were the first steps you took to say, I'm changing my life?
I was sitting in a federal penitentiary in Florence, Colorado, and the first part of the year in 1999, I walked into the case manager's office and went, I'm retiring. I'm done. You people aren't playing fair. You're giving out way too much time. I'm seeing kids in there, and I mean kids, 18 years old, getting life, multiple life, guys that are 70 and 80 years old. I'm watching a revolving door. I saw guys go out, got released, and came back. And I finally decided, you know what? There's got to be something better. There's got to be a better life out there. So I just walked in and told them, I'm done. I'm going to play this crap. I'm going to do whatever. Tell me what I got to do that can maybe start helping my cause. So then they took me out of the USP, which is the high security, and sent me over next door to the FCI, which is a medium security. I was there about a year before I got released. Well, 30 days before my release, a riot breaks out on the compound. Now here I am, 6'2", mid-200s. I flew into my block, pulled my cell door shut and said, lock this son of a bitch because I'm not involved. Full-blown riot going on just outside. Nope. I can see the door. I'm getting out of here. Call it what you want, but I was done. And then when I did get out, April 17th of 2000, got out, I think it was the following day or the next day. I met my PO, LeVar, and I walked in and I says, I'm done. I retired. And you could just see it on his face. Okay, here we go. Got another one. But LeVar was the kind of guy that, okay, most people have a file. I had 2 files. Now, most people look at that and they go through it and you're prejudged. LeVar was the guy I went, all right. And I tell people he gave me 6 feet of rope and a 3-legged stool. All right, what are you going to do? Kind of gave him kind of a game plan. How do I do this? Where do I go for this? And he didn't actually do anything. He told me which path to take. This is where you need to go to get this taken care of. I'm not going to make any phone calls. I'm going to tell you who you need to talk to. And it was from that point on. I never missed a drug test. I never missed a check-in. Nothing. I was done. I'm a statistic. With my background, I should have been back in 3 to 5 years. I've been out for 23 years. I've been on paper 20 years. How many people can say that? And if they can, God bless them. Because they got tired too. But it's like the book reads, hitting that brick wall. That was my brick wall in 99. I am tired of this. I can't do this anymore. There's got to be a better life. And was it easy? No. Then I met my wife in 06, and it was like 2000, I think it was 2009. I got introduced to a program called Bridges to Life, which is where they take inmates and they bring in, I hate the word victims, they bring in survivors, not their actual victims, but so that they could actually hear what these people have gone through. And it was the first time that I sat through one of them groups. We were trying to get it set up here in Utah, that it dawned on me. I am responsible. All these years, hey, I'm the one going to prison. What are you worried about? I'm the one that's, having to pay for this. It was at that point, shortly after that point, that, you know what, I take full responsibility for everything I've done. Yes, it'd be real easy to say, well, I did everything because I was in a horrible childhood. Great scapegoat. Nope. I stuck the needle in my arm. I did the burglary. I did all the crimes, all that. I'm not going to throw that back on anybody else. I made that choice. Well, you made that choice. Accept it. Suck it up, deal with it. One of my pet peeves is I didn't get enough hugs. Life sucks. Go make a friend. I went through it. Okay, does that mean I shouldn't be where I am now? Should I still be that guy living in a prison cell? His life is gone. Because when the prosecuting attorney tells you, come in front of a court again on another charge, don't worry about a parole date. That'll get you thinking. Well, these 5 and 10 and 20-year sentences, they sound kind of ugly. No parole date. That'll get your attention.
Very much so.
You're not going home, Sparky. When you do go home, it's in a black bag, body chain, belly chain, cuffs, shackles, the whole 9 yards. That's when you get to go home. I got something better to do.
And look at everything you've created.
Look where my life is now. 30 years ago, you wouldn't have, if we could do the time thing. I go back 30 years and you don't. 30 years ago, you wouldn't have had me sitting here. You wouldn't have wanted me sitting in front of you. Because I was able to portray there was nothing here. You looked in my eyes, there was nothing but death. Shaved head, I had a long beard. I didn't care. Now, hell, everybody talks to me. And when I mean everybody, I mean infants. The scary big guy wandering around with babies. People can change. That's one of my big things. People can change. I'm living proof. I just want to get out there and help. I know I can't change everybody. Let me try one at a time. If you don't want to change, that's fine. I'll go to the next one. Just because you don't want to change, does that mean I have to stop? I like what I do. Yeah, I've done a lot of horrible things in my past. I don't do these to put a notch in my belt. I do these to give back. God gave me the opportunity to do this. I got to pay for it. I'm not saying he's telling me I have to pay for it. I have to do it myself. This is what I feel. This is what I believe.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying God's up there going, no, you must keep doing this because you owe me. No, I owe myself. I owe my family. I owe what I know to do what I can to get this out. And that's what I do.
Absolutely. That's so beautifully said. And there's a couple things that I got from that. One is, yes, you chose to put the needle in your arm and all the other things, but you also chose to change your life.
Yeah.
It just simply comes down to choice and recognizing, yes, I'm here. And yes, this is what I've done in the past. This is where I want to go. And this is how I'm going to get there.
Right.
You made a choice and now we're here.
It's all just one. You're basically one choice away from success or failure. And when I say success, I don't mean, a Bill Gates success. Whether you continue on. Failure means you're done.
You quit.
You're in a box.
Yeah.
As long as you keep trying and you keep pushing forward, you're winning. We don't have to have these, the Super Bowl. I'll take a pregame scrimmage. If I can win that and just keep building on that, I'll take that win any day of the world. Every morning I wake up and I'm breathing, hey, this is a great day. Tell people I'm going to be pissed if ever I wake up and I'm not alive. I'm going to be mad. Not that I'm going to know it, but, if I wake up, I'm doing great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm in pain most of the time, but you know what? Doing things like this, what pain? You can channel pain. Mind over matter. You don't mind, it don't matter. This is what I mind. This is what matters to me. We need to get a word out.
Absolutely.
Are we preachers? No. We're going by life experience, what we've seen, what we've got. We don't have the perfect idea, but what ideas we do have that we feel might work, we're going to run with that. The day you stop doing that is when you're done. You've given up. I'm going to keep pushing.
And that's just it.
I mean, if this gets me to the point where I'm having to bounce all over the country. I drove truck for 22 years. I know all the highways. Been on them all. If this gets me bouncing all over the country, my wife's going to turn into my secretary and book planner and all this good stuff, and she'd love it. And I love doing this kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
It's just like we were talking about. It's not that we have to touch the entire group. We want that one. Give me one. We did a class in Penn State. There was 10 students. We got 7. Afterwards, we spent about 2.5 hours at IHOP trying to come down. That's a rush. That's a high that you can't pay enough money for. When you can grab that many people, you've done something. Like I said, whenever I go in, 10 people, 500. 1 is my goal. I grab 1, I've done something. More than that, it's gravy. That's awesome. I got, 15, 20, whatever. I got that 1.
Absolutely.
I made an impact. You're doing the same thing. Yes, millions of people can watch it. Great. Let me catch that 1. What is that called? Oh, that's right. That's the domino. Because then that 1's going to tell somebody else. And it just builds from there. That's why we do what we do.
Absolutely. And it takes one moment, one choice to start the domino for your own life.
Mm-hmm.
To start the domino for the world. And
yeah,
not trying to save the world, but if you can start with you, that's what you do.
That's where you have to start.
Yes.
You wake up every morning thinking, okay, what can I do better? It's not that this is what I'm going to do to achieve, but what can I do? Whether you get that all done or not, you're working towards it.
Absolutely.
Never pick something that is way out of your reach. That's all my goals. Why try to get a goal that you can't physically or mentally get to in a reasonable amount of time? You're just going to spin your wheels. Make your goals something you can actually achieve. Write a book. I'm not telling you that writing a book's easy. You know it. Oh, they're easy. You can just sit down and write. Really? You can write a book. Okay. First book I was co-author with, it took us 2 years. This one here took me about 6 months, and the last 4 days was the hardest because I set the deadline. And I've got a thing in the back of my head. If you don't have your word, you didn't got shit. I could have changed the deadline. Not a problem. No, I set the deadline for this date. It's going to be done.
Absolutely. You have to.
Yeah.
Your word, if people just kept their word to themselves and other people in this life, the world would be different.
That would be completely different. But that's just something I live by.
Absolutely.
If you don't have your word, what do you got?
Nothing. Not even your own confidence.
Yeah. You're done. So, don't set a goal that
Absolutely.
you can't do.
Absolutely. So I want to go back to your transformation. Because yes, you made a choice, which is an amazing thing. And if you make your choice, after you make your choice, things really become easy. I know this sounds crazy, but I'm with you. Once you make a choice, things become very simple. It's black and white.
Well, yeah.
It's either I'm changing or I'm going back to my old ways.
Mm-hmm.
Period. What else did you do to transform your life? Was there resources you used? Was it just all you? What else did you do?
No. Anybody that tells you it was just all them, they're full of shit.
Absolutely.
I have a support structure. You have a support structure.
Yeah.
That's your key. You got to have people, not just people you can go have lunch with. You got to have people you can talk to. My number one is my wife. She's my rock. I've got other people that are in there. She hasn't cured COVID from me with a pillow. You're not sick anymore. She's been there. She's seen it. Seen what I've been through. No, we didn't know each other when I was going to prison or all this, but she can see where it was. And she's still behind me. But you have to have people that you can talk to. And yes, you're going to have people that you thought were really, at your back. And then something stupid happens and they're gone. Were they really your support? If one thing changes everything. They were your support for as long as they needed you. You need to find the people that it's mutual. They need you as much as you need them. You get that, I'm not going to say life's easier. It makes it more tolerable. And you can see the light. Because without that support, the conduit's gone, the tunnel's been concreted in, it's done. If you're going to try to go forward, you can go backwards without it. Not a problem. But to be able to go forward, you need that support.
Absolutely.
You know, and I have many people that I can call.
And that was started. So when you first got out, what did that support look like? Your PO, Mr. McBride?
Mr. McBride, LeBar was one of them. His partner, shout out, Eric Anderson. There wasn't a whole lot in the beginning because I was under that mindset, okay, I can't go back with the people I knew.
Sure.
Because I've already gone down that road, and that road sucked.
And
I mean, there was
date.
potholes that you could put a tractor or trailer in that road. I need to find me a sidewalk I can walk on and try to build something up. And over a period of time, I was able to do this. You know, but you gotta have people with you.
So this comes to mind. And because I feel like a lot of people can actually relate to this and gain value from this, whether it's coming home from prison, whether it's trying to get over drugs, whether it's trying to get over really anything that's not serving you. Your triggers will create your life, whether that's people, your environment. If you're being triggered to do it, that triggers your thoughts, your emotions, which creates you to react a certain way. If you go back to your past, you're going to relive your past.
Yeah, you've gone backwards.
So coming out of prison, how did you cut off the friends? How did you cut off those associates?
You got to do it mentally.
Okay.
I mean, remember where you were. I can go for hours and tell you about the different cell blocks, the different, the commissary, all the different ugly stuff I've seen. I'm going for hours. Part of that you want to remember. Because, okay, if you get back with the people you were with, this is where you're going. I don't care how hard you try. You got to get rid of, they might be good people now, but you got to get rid of the evil. They were evil in your life at one time. You got to cut that out. Bad piece of fruit. You're always striving to find somebody new. Not somebody better, but somebody that has a different perspective. Because who's to say whose perspective is right? I know a few of them I'd love to say that far from being right. They're high up in the food chain, and no, we're not even going to go down that road. But you just have to find the people that feel right to you. It's kind of like, I was reading something, kind of like a little kid. If a little kid gets scared when somebody walks in, you pay attention. There's a reason that child is scared. Well, no, I know who this guy is. No, I don't care. That kid all of a sudden tenses up. There's a reason. And you got to go with it. Whether it's your kid or not. So I said, when I go into a room, I'm looking. I'm scanning. I'm horrible.
That's a good thing, though.
I love people watching.
That's a good thing.
But that's,
Do you feel like that, out of curiosity, do you feel like that comes from your past of needing to watch your back all the time?
Oh,
like
highly.
Okay.
Whenever we go into a restaurant, I have to see the front door. My back is to the back of the building. If I can see the front door, I can get out. Mindset. Where's the door? Where's the exits?
Sure.
I've been out for 23 years. Where's the exits? We went to breakfast yesterday. Where do you want to sit? Here. There's the door. It's just, it's gotten to the point now where it's not even a plan.
Subconscious.
You're set.
That's a good thing. I think everybody should be doing that. It's basic survival. And in this world, we need to live by that in some cases. We need to be prepared.
And if I'm eating the right thing that, I don't want anyone else to touch, I go back into the prison mode. My arm goes around my plate. It's mine. Try it. I got a fork. I'm going to stick you. It rarely happens, but it's still back there.
Sure.
It's just like all the time that I've done. It's still back there. That last shot, I want it there because I remember where I was. This is where I'm going to end up if I do it again. I'm going to lose everything. Family, friends, everything that I built. And did I build it myself? No. I'm not one of those people.
Absolutely.
This has been a big effort from a lot of people. Some are still with us, some are not. But it wasn't done myself. I don't have that big head. Oh, I did this all on my own. No. I had a lot of help.
And that's such a beautiful thing, though, because we don't need to be this big, masculine man. I did everything on my own. I'm this big, tough guy. It is the best thing. I'll just say I got married young, 19. And we obviously have more people other than just our wives. But being married and having love is the best thing. Having that support system and being able to honorably hold my wife's hand and say, we did this together, is so amazing. So I love that you embrace that. And I love that your wife is the air beneath your wings, as you guys say.
And that's how we do it. I mean, this is what I do. My wife's not the one that's going to come up here and do an hour or 2 hours. I've done 3-hour talks. And I was really getting warmed up then. Man, LeBar finally had to go, hey, these guys have got to go home. My wife's not the one that's going to come up there and start rambling away.
Sure.
She has her deal. This is what she does.
Yeah.
She's got my back. I know that, and that's all I need to know.
Absolutely.
I got this.
This
is what I do. That's what you do. We're happy.
Exactly. So this brings up, I love that you said all that, is that you want to remember that last shot. I want to remember my cell blocks. I want to remember these experiences. So I have this workshop called My Life Canvas. And it's very hands-on. We paint, we have fun. But the process that I take people through, because whether they've been to prison, whether they've done drugs, whatever it is, we all have a past. Take it forward. It's okay to recognize your past and see where you are. But it's also okay to paint white over that. It doesn't take away from the past.
Oh, no,
You're just creating a new canvas for you to paint on.
It's not.
To go create who you want to be and what you want to do.
You kind of want to remember it.
Yes.
Just as a reminder. Do you want to live that over and over again? No, that's your painting.
Absolutely.
I mean, a little thinner can bring it back up. Okay? You painted over this. I can take some thinner and take that last coat of paint off and I can see where I was.
Absolutely.
But it's never actually gone. You just want to go ahead. You want to go forward.
Absolutely.
And this is what you need to do to continue on your journey. You're not trying to make this all. I tried that once. Try to make my past go away, and it bit me in the ass. But it was a good thing. And I just, you can't do that. Yes, you want to remember, just don't harp on it. Don't dwell on it.
Absolutely.
Don't make it a part of your day. Yeah, it was there. Okay, I remember. Great. What are we doing today? It's kind of like a redneck. You start talking to him. Oh, squirrel. It's gone.
Absolutely.
Don't make it your whole life.
and bringing it back to God overall. And so obviously I didn't get nearly as deep as you did, but I certainly was right along your journey of ending up where you were.
Mm-hmm.
I started drugs when I was 13. I started stealing at 14 and selling drugs here and there. I was not headed for a good road.
Oh, no.
All I can say is I am actually really grateful for everything that I did. I know it sounds so weird, but even so, one of the worst things that I actually I love that you said stranger is a friend that you just don't know. Mm-hmm. Well, my brother, I stole money from him to pay for drugs for me and my friends. It's one of the heaviest things that I carried for a long time because that's my brother. That's like my blood. I love my brother, and it got in the way of me connecting to him for a long time because I knew what I did do to him.
What happened when you finally broke?
Oh, so what happened after I stole?
Was it kind of like a tidal wave?
It felt so good. It was like, so the way it happened, I stole money from him. It was his college money. So he's broke college student, and he used that money to pay for his own food. Mm-hmm. And I stole it from him. He called me out on it. And I denied it. And it's unfortunate. I was that little big-eyed, I didn't do that at all. I don't know what you're talking about. And my dad did his job of, hey, don't blame you spending your money on your brother. So kind of harped on him a little bit, got him in trouble, which made me feel worse. But after years, so I promised myself before I met my wife now that I would tell my brother everything and I would pay him back in full before I got married. After I proposed to my wife now, I took my brother out to dinner. I wrote him a really nice letter, which I'll actually send it to you. I still have that letter. And I would love to read it here, but I don't have it. I read him a letter. I paid him back in full, and he fully forgave me. It was the most beautiful conversation that I have ever had.
But coming up to it, didn't it seem like it was going to be something you'd never do?
No.
But when you finally got to that point, it's not like I can't do this. I have to.
Yes. That weight, it was so
That's
heavy.
what we're trying to get across.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what you've done.
Not at all.
You have to be the one that goes, you know what? What can I do to make this right? Whether it's something I did, something somebody else did, what can I do to help?
Absolutely.
And that's what we're trying to do.
Exactly. And that, again, I'm grateful that I stole money from my brother. I know that sounds so weird.
That sounds weird, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
That has drawn my line to where I will not steal a penny. If you give me $10 and I spend $5 getting you groceries, you're getting $5 back. Mm-hmm. It's created my loyalty. When I am loyal to you, you have my word. My brother will forever have my word. But it also gave me the ability to understand forgiveness. My brother's name is Christian, and I tell you, he is the most Christian person I know. He is so forgiving. That guy didn't bat an eye. He didn't judge me. He didn't reprimand me. We cried together. We hugged. He forgave me in that moment. Mm-hmm. I also am now a part of his story where he can tell that story and show people that forgiveness is powerful.
Okay.
That one moment has impacted so many people.
It does work.
Yes.
Oh, no, if you do that, it's not going to mean anything. Yeah, it does. And if they tell you that, they've never been forgiven.
Most definitely.
Try it one time, huh? Have someone to forgive you for something, and then come back and talk to me.
Most definitely. So that brings up my question to you is, have you forgiven the people that hurt you, and have you forgiven yourself? And if so, how did you go about your forgiveness?
That's have I forgiven everyone? Now, there's people out there that said I'd be in my right mind if I never forgave my mother. Okay, because she never acknowledged it. On her dying day, I mean, I'm the guy that she wanted a protection order from, and they wanted me locked up and all this. It was me and my wife that were there on her last day. We were doing everything for her. I had to, not for her. I had to for me. That was one of them things that you just got to let it go. It's going to eat you alive. I've been living with this for how many years? Several decades. And I'm going to keep harping on it. Yeah, she did some ugly things. But you know what? When all's said and done, she's still my mom. Do I wish it would have been better? I'd be a liar if I said no. Yeah, of course I wanted it to be better. But kind of look at it in a strange way. If it wouldn't have gone that way, where would I be now? Would I be able to have the ability and have the knowledge to be able to help people? Or could I have been just a book smart geek that just didn't care? All I did was numbers. I've got a history, and I can use that history to help. Like I was saying earlier, like about 95% of the things that I've done, I've accepted and, feel sorry for. There's some things, though, that just I'm still working on. Would I do them again? No. I've had people that asked if I would ever contact the family that in that murder. Part of me wants to, but another part doesn't. And here's my thinking: if I got a hold of them and tried to ask forgiveness or whatever, they either forgive me and all this and everything all happy and all this, or I just took a biggest Band-Aid and ripped it off their wound, and now they have to relive that again. Do I want to do that? So would I want to? Well, maybe. Am I going to push it? No. Just because, okay, they probably, I'm not going to say 100% over it, but they've moved on.
Sure.
Why do I want to go back and tear that off? Say, hey, you know what? Because I need to feel better. You need to feel worse. No. I don't need it that bad. I know what I did was wrong. I'm not going to ask for any kind of excuse. I'm not going to use an excuse or anything for what I did. It was wrong. I take responsibility, all that. I was there. I did it, period. Do I ask for forgiveness? Yes, but, I can't make people do that. I do what I do to try to give back. I can't make what I did go away. I've done a lot. I've shattered, I can't count the amount of people, the amount of families. I can't make it all go away. But I can try to do something better. That's what I'm doing.
Which is amazing. So what I'm hearing is you're working on still forgiving yourself, but you've come a long way.
Well, yeah. I mean, granted, I don't think I could ever get to the point where I could say, yeah, I'm fully forgiven and all this, because, let's not BS anybody. I mean, if you knew 10% of my background, okay, maybe there's some things back there that maybe might be hard to swallow, to be able to forgive, but you're trying. I'll give you that.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm not asking people to say that, okay, everything I've done is it's all good now, because it's not. I'll be the first one to say it. It's not. I was a horrible, awful person. That's who I was.
So who is Eric Wicklund now?
This is a guy that just wants to do whatever he can to help people now. The reason the book was written is to give people an outlet to say, I'm not going through this alone. Somebody else has gone through this. They might actually understand. You know, you've talked to people that, you know, have brought something up and, well, nobody really understands what I'm going through. Yeah, they do. Somebody does. I'm not saying I understand all the different things that can go on. Somewhere out there, somebody else has gone through it. I'm trying to give them an outlet to say that, you know what? I don't have to do this alone. I went through it. It sucked. That's why I don't want to see it carry on. I want to make it a better world. Can I make the whole world better? God, come on, no. But I want to try.
You've definitely made the world a better place.
You know, there's got to be something that we can all do. We've got a gift to gab. It's something we have. There's people, if you sat them down here, they would just lock up. They'd be mute. And then there's people like us. We can go on and go on and on. But it's a gift we've been given. That's what I look at the book. This is a gift I've been given to help people. I tell people I've paved a lot of roads. You don't need to go down these roads. I've been to 2 different state prisons. I've been to federal prison. I've been to psych wards, all this. I'm an old dope fiend. I hate recovering, the word recovering. I'm a dope fiend.
Dopamine. Did I get that right?
No,
Dopamine?
a dope fiend.
A dope fiend.
I'm a drug addict.
Okay. A dope fiend. Okay, I understand.
It's not that I do drugs now, but it's like an alcoholic. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. You're a drug addict. Are you clean? Yeah, got a lot of years. It's a daily battle.
Are some days harder than others?
Some days are harder than others. I mean, I've been known to be in pain where luckily it was joking. I says, it would take one phone call. And all that pain would be taken care of. And after that one phone call, everybody else would leave. Because then I'd be on my own.
And that's even more pain.
That's I'll deal with the pain I got. Because it's hopefully going to go away eventually. I take the easy way out. That pain will never go away.
And I've been speaking often in the last couple of weeks of the concept that God believes you're strong, but the devil believes you're weak. And those easy roads seem so nice and juicy sometimes. Yeah. But God believes you're strong to know that you will take that longer path that leads to a higher reward.
With what I've gone through, yeah, we've gone several rounds. Me and the devil. I've whooped his ass. He's whooped mine. But I know where he stands now.
Sure.
Okay, I know your game plan. Guess what? I got a different game plan. And that's how you got to look at it. Yeah, he's always going to be there. You going to listen to him? You going to let him take your hand? I already know what he can do. You're not showing me anything new, dude. Sorry, been there, done that, seen that. I'm going to try it this way.
Absolutely. I could really talk to you forever, Eric. You're an amazing man. you've come so far. You really are making the world a tremendous place. We can't do it. We won't do it. But we can certainly try, and we can start one person at a time being that domino.
We got to.
But you are an amazing person.
And it's all I wanted is the opportunity. You know, you see what I've done in just this short amount of time. Put me in a room with a full crowd. Numbers do not scare me. We was at my daughter's graduation up at Rexburg at BYU.
Okay.
In their auditorium. And I told the wife, I says, that's where I want to talk. You could probably hold, 5,000, 10,000 people in there?
Sure.
Put me down there. 95% of the people would be just petrified. I'm rocking. This is what I do. Most places that I talk at, we've done the NOVA conference, National Organizations of Victims Assistance, and LeVar will put the mic on because there's 400 or 500 people, and I don't need your mic. My voice travels. My wife hates it at times. Keep it down. Sorry. Oops, my bad. But I know it does. My voice travels. And I get your attention. This is how I look. When I walk into a room, I want your full attention. You asked me to come in and talk with you. When I did that at the probation office, you could have dropped a pin. And it was a carpeted floor. And you'd have heard it. I had everybody locked. Because I got something to say. Something that's useful.
Absolutely. So if you had one message to share, I just, scratch that. I just want to open the floor, and any last advice you'd like to give the audience today, I would like to just open the floor for wherever you would like to take it.
I've had several different things. Go into new situations with an open mind. Don't go in prejudging. It's what I tell students. Whatever they're going into their workforce, don't go into it with a set. Well, this guy did this, so he needs to do this much time. Why did he do that? Don't go in closed-minded. Go in with an open mind. Remember who put you where you're at. And I'm really going to throw people off. It wasn't your mom and dad. Go a little higher. God put you here. Do you think he's got a closed mind?
Absolutely not.
As much as he's hurt, part of it I'd go, maybe it'd be okay if he didn't listen to that, but no, he still listens. You got to go into things with an open mind. Be that one person. Like we were talking earlier. You see somebody that's down, just go up and say hi. What can I do? Do you need someone to talk to? You might be the one that keeps him from jumping off a bridge or putting a gun to his head and pulling the trigger or taking an overdose or whatever. One conversation. What's wrong with that? Is your time so valuable and you think of yourself so highly that you can't take a minute? Is your world going to come to an end? No. What's a minute? And like I said before, what's a stranger?
A friend.
A friend you haven't met. I just want to help. I want to be given the opportunity to go out and do what I do.
And at the end of the day, we're never alone.
No, you're never alone. There's always somebody. Well, I'm in this room alone. No, maybe as far as human presence, yeah, you might be in the room alone. You're never alone. Many times. I've told the wife, and she's told me many times, there was only one reason that certain things happened.
Absolutely.
You know, if it wasn't for God, this would not have turned out this way. You know, I could go on for probably a couple of hours on different instances, but people know what I'm talking about. Well, that shouldn't have went that way. Huh. Well, I didn't do anything to make it not happen. Okay, come on. You're getting there. Come on. You're coming around. But yeah, it's have a belief. Have an open mind. You know, I'm to the point now where there was a time different charges would just set me off. Didn't want to talk to them, nothing. Now, everything that I've gone through, well, if I can change, who's to say other people can't?
Absolutely. I love that. And that's anybody can change, whether that's where you were from, where you were at in your life, or whether that's wanting to change something simple. We all can change whatever we want to, whatever we set our mind to, and make the choice to. Well, with that in mind, one last question that I ask everybody is, what is your definition of a prosperous life?
Prosperous life is to be able to, I want to be able to help as many as I can, but it's not, I know a lot of people get into this because they want it. They want that money. I don't want to be a Bill Gates. I don't want to be one of these people. I want to be, you know, able to feel comfortable.
Sure.
But it's not like, you know, I got to have $100,000 to talk. Or whatever. What's more important, the money or helping?
Helping. Money will come.
I mean, it's a gimme. We can make money. We know how to do it. Give me the opportunity to help. That's what I want to do. You do this, it's going to come over here.
Money follows value.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. I love that. And with that in mind, I actually was just thinking of this. I'm going to drop all of these resources down below with your permission, of course.
Oh, yes.
There is so many different resources on child abuse to rape, abuse, sexual violence to suicide. I'm going to drop all these resources down below. And with that in mind, you guys, thank you so much again for showing up today. His book is his story and who he's become and the life he's built. Go grab yourself a copy. I just got done reading it. I went through every single emotion, but at the end of the day, you can clearly tell he's living a prosperous life today. And he made that choice, and you guys can too. That in mind, everybody, thank you again so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will talk to you soon.